Yo, what's going on, everyone? Hope everyone enjoyed that short little Bari video. It's a fun thing that the crew worked on. It's really
it's in-game footage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saman just was like, I want to make a cool video, and kind of taught himself Sequencer to be able to make that
that's
for
so cool.
Bari.
Nice.
And then Kellen was like, yo, dude, this is sick. I want to do the audio for it. So Kellen hopped on and did that, and it came up pretty well. So we're going to be posting that on socials and promoting it a little bit more later today to try and get the word out a little bit more about Princess Bari, because we think she's pretty darn sweet.
But we figured we'd give you all the first look, for tuning in to Titan Talk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, lots of fun little stuff like that. We're finding ways to do interesting stuff and promote. I do want to call you guys out. Why is nobody wearing green today?
Oh, man.
I'm in my black goth era.
Yeah,
I'm just
sorry about that,
even my jeans.
I'll wear green in Smite 2 to unlock my Celtic music.
That's good
pack,
because
Yeah, this
these
isn't
things
live.
they
I had to
still
go back.
going. So
Nice.
play 3 games as a green god or skin, and you can get the Celtic music pack for free.
All right, tell me about Merlin.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to another edition of Titan Talk. I'm Isaiah.
Tell
Killed
me
Good with
about
We brought in Clumsy because
Merlin.
It's time to start talking about OB6, and we've got the Master Wizard Merlin joining the battleground in our next update. Super exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, I love seeing Merlin in Smite 1 and being able to get him into Smite 2. I know there's a lot of people that are excited for him. So
Yeah, he is one of the most requested mages that is not yet in Smite 2.
I feel like Scylla and Janice would be higher.
Here more often. But, Scylla has some technical things that made it more sense to do Merlin first. And
really, Scylla has more technical things than Merlin?
Interesting play style that we've added some new wrinkles to.
absolutely.
Yeah, super sweet.
Just some subtle, tiny
Just
little
a
ones.
little bit, yeah. So we're going to be talking about Merlin. We'll kick the show off today with him, but also a lot of other stuff in OB6 that we're going to talk about today.
Ooh.
Without further ado, go ahead.
So quick little TLDR, right?
Turn it up a little bit.
Not like a true patch notes show because we don't really do those anymore, and we don't have written patch notes yet. But we are going to show as much stuff that's in OB6 today as we can. Yeah. There's going to be some more stuff that we aren't showing today, but we're going to show Merlin. We're going to go through some skins. We can't go in game for all the skins because they aren't quite done yet. Yeah. We're going to talk about there's some items. There's some
reset. You already have that with
aspects,
Achilles.
all sorts of cool stuff. So we're going to run through as much of it as we can today.
You already have detonate abilities.
There's some
like
updates,
Zeus
but I don't know if we're
3.
gonna go through that today.
We can see if we can go through them today.
We'll see. There's a lot of good stuff in the update, and there's even some stuff that was supposed to be in this update that didn't make it in because one of our devs had jury duty and has been stuck on a jury for like a week. He was like lead on a couple features that were supposed to be in this update. So still a lot of really cool stuff, and I'm excited to share it all with you. So.
Cool. So without further ado, I'll bring up the handy dandy laptop here, and
there he
got
is.
our boy Merlin.
Damn.
It's crazy seeing him in Smite 2. Like,
Yeah, Clumsy. Talk
His
to us
autos look a
little
little
bit about
weird.
Getting Merlin into Smite 2. What's the process? I know
What's
you all
the
have
process?
a lot of new features
doing
and systems
this?
that you can work in with Unreal 5. The gameplay
absolutely.
ability system. Merlin has a lot of abilities.
Merlin has a lot of abilities. That's absolutely one of the main functions, right? It's
Just
that
his autos look
when we're
weird.
Getting the idea of Merlin yeah, we're just gonna keep casting things. I love seeing all the different spell effects and everything. Roland's been working really hard, but yeah, obviously Merlin's a master magician. He's got a whole bunch of abilities. We didn't really want to go too crazy on that sense because every time that we port into God, we have to think about what's being redeveloped from the beginning, not just the gameplay side of it, the effects side, the sound effects side. There's so much that goes in to porting.
He looks so clean.
And that goes kind of to his plus.
Bro, his
ones and
abilities.
weaknesses.
Look at his
We wanted to make sure
abilities.
that when we brought Merlin in from Smite 1 to Smite 2, we didn't kind of... It's not that we didn't want to go crazy for the sake of crazy, but when you're bringing in a character that already has so much going on, it's almost an injustice to push that too far away.
22-second
just
base
a simple
flicker.
example. It's something that people said externally and internally. I was like, wait, what if we did a 4th stance? Right? Like, what would that mean for Merlin? And like,
God, a 4th stance.
right? Can we do that? Do we want to do it? We have more buttons than ever now. But in the grand scheme of things, and that's actually one of the reasons why we went kind of lighter on some of the plus ones, especially for Merlin, is because he's already got a pretty cohesive kit that, in fact, for just taking that example, if you brought in a 4th stance, you'd actually be detracting from the other stances and abilities that are already there, and you're going to be diluting what his kit identity actually is. Like, for example, each one of his stances right now has a gameplay purpose for being there. If you bring in a 4th one, is that going to just be better all the time? Is that going to be what is the new niche you're trying to fill? It's a fun idea, but it's not something that
he already kind of has like a niche with all of his other stances.
Technical or artistic channels that might be there. We wanted to make sure that Merlin feels like Merlin going into Smite Smite 2. I know a lot of people even wanted to change the passive and go a little bit crazier there, and we kind of did that, but in a different way.
Yeah.
So I guess do you want to try to just talk about the +1 features?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so the main +1 feature, going from Smite 1 to Smite 2, well, you've got the different abilities changing based on stance, but the one thing that never really changed was his teleport, his flicker ability. So now, whenever Merlin uses his flicker, depending on what stance he's in, you're going to see one of those 3 effects.
Right.
So in Arcane, you're going to be healing a percentage of the recent damage you've taken recently. You're going to see that update in the passive meter, so that's a new element there. In Fire, for a short duration, you're going to be applying the Radiate debuff, which is what
Dude, that Arcane one is so cool.
which is basically just that dot effect. And for Ice, your ability cooldowns are going to be reduced by
30% of the damage
5
taken.
seconds when you're in that stance. Maybe that's a little bit high, but we want
Seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot,
pretty good.
but at the same time, you're most likely going to be using that flicker offensively if you want to do that. So you're kind of sacrificing the defense mechanism.
Tank
and going for the
Merlin?
offense. While
Wait.
Arcane, right? You're sacrificing anything else, and you're just trying to go for a little bit more of that heal play. You don't want to do it too early, otherwise you're not going to be able to make use of the actual heal from the damage. Right? It's a kind of a combat heal.
Right.
And then for the Fire, that's again kind of more of an offensive one. You're kind of weaving that in the middle of your fight to keep that dot going from your Radiate.
Nice, sweet. Well, let's talk about the Arcane one first. Let's see if I can take a little bit of a damage here.
And
the
as
tower
usual,
range.
I cannot only play Smite.
We want to make sure that we're let you guys know that there's still some things that are going to be temp. Not everything's going to be in a perfect state, but we're going to keep
see
sharpening
that
that
heal
up.
right there after the flicker in Arcane stance.
Yes.
Nice.
And that will be affected by anti-heal. So if you are anti-healed and you see like 100, you're not going to get that full 100 amount. It just as usual, it's going to be affected by that anti-heal number.
Sleepiest Merlin? Is that a...
Sleepiest Merlin is the thing. I went to Sleepiest Anubis the other day and actually went pretty
nice.
crazy. Because I knew they had a lot of anti-heal. So otherwise, his abilities that work the same way that you'd expect them to work. He's got this ability 1 that marks the enemies while they're in it. They take the initial hit damage. Again, we're trying to smooth some stuff out, but for the most part, everything does work the way you'd expect there. And then his flicker is that main +1 feature. So if we go to the Fire stance, his Fire stance has a small +1 that I'm actually still building out as we speak right now, which effectively is that his Radiate does, which is his first ability in the Fire stance, does a burning dot.
Cool.
And the idea is that when the combined area of the Dragonfire, so that center area that usually reduces protections, also applies that Radiate dot, as does his Flicker and his Elemental Mastery. So the idea is that you have
they stack?
This Fire stance is the dot stance. It was kind of there before, but now you're kind of playing on that a little bit more. So you can see that 13 damage. Now if you apply the center area, you're going to see the Protection Shred. You can see the center Ymir specifically will take that ongoing Radiate burn damage. If you use your 3, so now you're in hands, you can see him like lit up not just with lightning, but also with some extra fire.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
And for the next 3 or 4 seconds,
That's
your
cool.
in-hands will actually apply that Radiate BO1 debuff too.
That is cool.
And then finally his
What's up,
ulti,
Jiggy?
it goes in and out, expands and contracts based on whatever stance you're going to in. You'll see that will also apply that Radiate debuff. So the idea
it's
is
more of like a burning effect, which is what you would expect, I guess, from Fire.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
It's very on theme. I like it.
Now the number's obviously going to be lower because of it, right? It's not the same old BO1 damage, but you're going to be having it spread throughout the kit.
Right.
Or at least that stance of his kit.
All right, and now we are in Ice stance. So if I use my abilities here, and
Ice
then I
stance as
flicker,
simple as ever before.
I get my
Jeez.
cooldown resets here.
That's
pretty quick.
crazy.
Yep, 5 seconds there. So you're basically with even the tiniest bit of CDR, you're most likely getting your
that's
double
YouTube.
Frostbolt.
Oh yeah.
That's a YouTube subscriber.
Just in
Thanks for the
general,
subscribe on
it's still pretty
YouTube.
simple. Your 2 is applying that stacking slow, which plays off of the 1, which does bonus damage off of slows. Of course, it'll do bonus damage off of any slow, but your 2 is the one that facilitates it, or your 4 technically facilitates it the most.
Damn, you will be able to
Frostbolt right
dash,
after
or you'll be able to one poly,
and then if you
dash
get mirrored,
poly,
then you
one
can triple
poly.
Frostbolt.
Yes, exactly. So Merlin kind of coming in with those 2 main +1 gameplay features, the Flicker one being the most important one. And then like we talked about, his passive is still his passive. I know there are a lot of people who kind of wanted to see that get the +1 feature, but I actually thought that the Flicker almost deserved it more because it was just kind of that singular simple ability that we could emphasize and play around with in unique ways that kind of ties into each one of the stances of his kit, while the passive itself, it's
So it's a
there to
2
weave
second
in
slow.
your extra spells, your lightning stance in a way. It was never meant to be pushed too far
Hey,
into
what's up,
the
Fab?
forefront of his kit. That being said, it was something that I wanted to play around with, and we can talk about it for his aspect.
Yeah. I was gonna
However,
Oh, jeez. Are you guys ready to get
are we going to talk
pretty
about
silly
it?
with it?
Okay,
Yeah,
Is
we're
there
gonna
anything
get
else to
silly.
talk about on base Merlin? Or like,
Well, I want to give a shout out again to the tech teams and the art teams. Merlin's not a simple character.
For sure,
even when we're talking about his abilities, like each one kind of seems almost simple by themselves, but there's so much interconnectivity. There's so much work that had to be done just in the idea that he's switching between these different stances and the amounts of, like, for example, his basic attacks. Like if you just fire his projectiles, they're themed to the different stances. The hit effects are themed to the different stances. There's a lot of different, like even the outro and the intros of the ulti, because if you don't have any points put into it, you don't do these.
His autos look
And
sick.
then that needs to be themed to the different stances. There's a lot that goes in to the triple stance swapping that while we may have had a little bit of the tech before that from like Uller and even Aladdin Lamp and stuff like that, there's still even more that had to be built in for Merlins.
And let's answer a couple of just questions about base Merlin
Yeah,
before we move
absolutely.
on. What is the number below the elemental icons? That is how much you will heal when you flicker while in arcane stance,
Yes,
which is
exactly.
the
Wow.
amount of
They
damage.
have that
30%
number
of
there?
The amount of damage you've taken in the last 4 seconds. What other ones were there? Does the flicker cooldown in ice stance also reduce the cooldown on the ult 5 seconds?
Yes, it does.
It does. Okay.
It only just doesn't do itself. And yeah, I'll get back to that in a little bit too.
There's a question of I thought gods were not coming with aspects. So we are planning to put a Merlin aspect.
wanna see the
in this
aspect.
update. A few days later,
To give what
Gonna bring us
thank you,
back to-
T-Dog.
we find one.
Behind this weekend,
You know?
and very
Yeah,
let's
right. Mastery has a reduced cooldown, and each time it is used, a random stance is selected with 2 random primary abilities. Flicker
Wait,
will
what?
always persist. Using Elemental Mastery provides an intelligence buff. for
Hey,
a short
what?
duration. So, Clumsy, what does this mean?
This means you're getting random abilities. We're doing it. We were joking about it, and we're doing it. So you'll start the game, as you see right here, and there are actually a few caveats which I'm going to mention because you can break yourself. But if you're doing that, you're doing it to yourself. So so you start with the arcane stance. Everything
What?
seems normal, right?
Yes.
Now go ahead and press that 4 button.
All right.
So you lucked into your Frostbolts 1 and 2, but you're actually in Fire Stance. You can see that through the flicker. And if you keep doing that, you're going to basically be able to switch between the different abilities.
All right. Yeah,
So
I wonder
go
if
ahead
it
and
works
do
better. Let me
again.
just set myself to level 20 and level up. That way.
I'll talk about the bricked aspect
There we
component
go.
of that later
Cool.
on. But
And I will just put on reduced cooldowns. Although elemental, actually no, I'm not going to do reduced cooldowns. That way we can show off the short cooldown for elemental mastery. So I'm going to ult again.
there we go. So you are just choosing between a different 1 and a different 2. This time you kept your Frostbolt. You're in arcane stance, but you have your arcane 2, and you're basically it's going to be randomizing your 1s
What
and
the
your 2s.
fuck?
You will keep flicker. That is one of the main things. So there you go. You have your arcane 2 and your fire 1. And you could have 2 different 1s, you could have 2 different 2s, you could have the exact same 2 spells you would normally have,
Right.
but be in a different stance. You could have an entirely new composition altogether. So you keep
That's
doing that. So you
weird.
have frost stance, you've got your fire 1, you've got your ice
So
1.
now you can flicker to give you reduced cooldown on your fire one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So funnily enough, that was actually a bug, or like that
Wait,
that was working.
what?
And then I realized when I was working on the cooldown part of Flicker, I didn't only do it to his ice abilities. And I'm like,
Right.
crap, now I need to do it to his other abilities. So I went ahead and fixed that. So yes, while those Flicker aspects, or those Flicker plus ones kind of only matter for base Merlin in those specific ways.
kind of
Now what
interesting.
stance you are is going to actually matter for the Flicker based on your other abilities too.
Right.
Kind of
while
interesting.
you're not randomizing Flicker into a new ability. You're still randomizing the stance you're in, giving you a new
see, I got
Flicker
ice.
components as well.
Oh, I lucked out. I got the perfect roll here. I'm an ice
Yup.
stance.
Pandemonium.
It's totally possible. So,
But I think the TLDRs, this is just fun.
This
right?
is just fun. This is just wacky. This is fun. There's one other component of it as well, because one of the other goals we wanted to have is that you don't just find your perfect 2 abilities, or let's just say the meta RNG Merlin 3 triple stance, whatever it is, that's there. So whenever you use Elemental Mastery, which is on a reduced cooldown with this aspect.
And I would say that's like, people are like, but why would you use this? Or, what's
Yeah.
the upside of this, right? Playing against this, it feels like Merlin has his abilities up much more often.
And you don't know which
you
abilities
just
he
aren't sure
has.
what they're going to be, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It could be
There's
something
little
that is
feedback
really good to, in this situation, or it could be something that's not as good. So you're basically giving up like the choice of what stance, what abilities are best.
Bro, I
for
hope
you
he's out for my
to be able
tournament.
to cast much more.
Bro, I
often.
hope he's out for
But
my
also,
tournament.
so you can see whenever you use the Elemental Mastery, you're actually given a new
benefit
buff
is your
of temporary
4 ability
intelligence based on
is shorter.
base per level. So that way, if you do find that mix match of perfect abilities, you're incentivized to swap, because every time you swap, you have a buff in power, a buff in your intelligence.
Yeah, and you also get
So
an intelligence
you don't want
buff.
to just hold on to your perfect 2 abilities. you're incentivized to keep playing and
keep
hitting
switching,
that
keep
slot
getting that
roulette.
intelligence buff, firing the ability, switch again.
Delay for a week. My tournament's the 28th.
Definitely, like,
And this is supposed to
play
be the
around with this. Let us know how you
24th or
think it
something like
feels.
that.
It has been good in our testing. So yeah.
Yeah. So for context,
Yeah, it's like the 23rd, next Monday.
Goes from 30
24th,
seconds to 30
sorry.
seconds on base.
Gives you
but the
randomness that
aspect
might or
is
might
a
not
flat
be on
15
cooldown.
seconds.
No, it will never be on cooldown, that ability.
Which,
Wait, really? Right?
But it's
Yeah,
even less if you get into Ice Dance, because then you can flicker.
What happens if
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
And then
are
you're
having
forcing that
Ice
cooldown
one,
rate
you
playing
just
into
use
that
it,
as
you
well.
transform, and then you get Ice one again. Does it go
So
on
I was
cooldown?
mentioning that this might not be, the comp.
Surely not.
That being said, I still think it's wacky and fun, and it might be pretty good. Maybe with some on-hit builds or something.
Oh, the mega AOE, right?
Yes. Yeah. That one feels good.
That's interesting,
Well,
though.
that is Merlin's aspect. So
That is actually
definitely
so
look forward to that
interesting.
later on in Open.
It's refreshed,
Day.
that's what I thought.
How's chat feeling about it?
I'm
Oh.
never
Fresh
gonna use
weed?
base Merlin, true gambler in me. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I'm playing in ranked or something, maybe I'll play normal Merlin. But I think I'm just gonna go RNG Merlin for shits and giggles too. Like this is like assaults the god,
I
Does
might
it,
actually
it
play
does
with
reset the cooldown of
that
ability
one.
if you roll it again, correctly?
Yes, it
okay.
does.
Sorry.
No, absolutely. Okay. So the caveats, though, where I feel like I'm going to say this incorrectly as well. So I need to remember. So ignoring the level 1 aspect of you're on Arcane 1 and 2.
That's so interesting,
Let's
man.
assume you're on completely random abilities. You could be on ability 2, right? Like you have 2 different ability 2s. When you rank that up, you're ranking up the ability 2. You're not ranking up the slot. So for example, if you have Fire 2, and this is just how it works, it has just never mattered until now. If you have your Fire 2 and your Arcane 2, and you rank up your first ability, you're ranking up ability 2. So that way, if you press your ulti again and you get 2 1s, you will not have your 1s leveled. Because you're ranking up the ability 2, not slot 1. The reason why that's very important is specifically at level 1 and maybe technically level 2. If you're level 1 and you immediately put like just a rank into, let's say again, you're 1, and then you switch for some reason and you're left with 2 2s, you now no longer have any abilities. Except for your ulti. You have to wait.
You gotta wait 15 seconds and then you can roll again.
That's
like
no way, you know.
Super important. Exactly. Auto builds technically will like help this a little bit more. So auto skill,
level,
right? It's gonna go 1 2 3, I believe. So by like level 2, you're honestly completely fine, and everyone should be completely fine. But if you are in a stance where you have 2 of the same abilities and you just keep putting those in, and you don't realize, you probably might need to hold one for either your 3 or whatever. Hold a point, and then you'll be able to,
That's funny.
Use your abilities again.
Yes. So he's really fun.
Yeah.
He is fun to play against and to play as.
That's
glad
funny.
that he's finally going to be in the game pretty soon here. Everything that we're showing off today, we'll probably start flash testing tomorrow. Is my expectation. And then it'll go live on probably
Mama wishes she was this random. True.
So, that's what you have to look forward to for Merlin. Anything else? Any Merlin questions from chat?
Yeah, we do have the Ascension Pass for Merlin.
Earlier.
Title is one of the.
Betty's here.
Not quite ready to share some of the typo.
Okay.
We click EDM
On the
Smite 1. The wait for.
at doing that, we were doing it live.
Yeah, we're doing it live. Coming into the next update. Clumsy, you want to
Refresh quick.
Merlin and Yemoja. Okay, so Yemoja's one's one that we kind of saw the direction of a little while ago. We just didn't know exactly how we want to implement it, but we thought, let's pull the trigger, give this a go, see how the numbers work out, and it iterated when necessary, right? So Yemoja's aspect is the aspect of Downpour. It's basically going to let her be a little bit more on the offensive side. So your second ability, Mending Waters, no longer does anything to do with allies, but instead, on hitting an enemy god, it'll bounce to other enemy gods, right? That's kind of one of the main things. It's like, okay, you have this ability that's mostly just defensive oriented. Let's purely turn that into an offensive.
So it's kind of like an Odibo
ability. And not only that, but it also, we know, is going to compete kind of with your first abilities, which is kind of what you're going to be spamming most of the time. So instead of just giving that more damage or more scaling, we're actually saying that every time that you use Mending Waters and it hits an enemy god, it actually stacks up an intelligence buff. So that way it's kind of used as your generator, not for Omi, but your generator for damage. So the more int you get via your 2, you're actually then fueling the second part of the aspect shift, which is on her second stance. Her BO1. That was the best way to say it. So the Moonstrike, exactly. To the Moonstrike, and specifically, so the trade-off there is you're no longer going to get a stun, so that's a very heavy CC difference there, but you're getting a lot more scaling on the
Interesting.
So more scaling on the Moonstrike and bouncing damage on the Mending Waters. That is the
I can
aspect.
spawn a few Ymir bots and show this thing off.
in between that and like an on-hit build with conduit gem and stuff like that.
Here we go.
It definitely, I mean, it already almost worked before, and now it's definitely feeling it. So you can actually see.
I can't see the
I'm not sure
intelligence
why you're
going
not
up.
seeing the buff itself, but you can see the damage going up. So.
I'm out of Omi. I spam too much. There we go. So yep, no stun, but
Dude, that's kind of
You can
cool.
see a buff tooltip bar that's stacking up. Maybe it's just a jungle practice issue where it's not.
See
but
here. Let's see.
I'm pretty
if
sure I
can-
saw the damage going up. So.
And then we can show off the scaling here for Moonstrike in the aspect.
75%.
So yeah, a lot of scaling here.
Yep. So that's the 75% on the inner strike specifically. That's the one that's been changed. So I think it was 40% before. It was like 40 and 40. Now it's 40 and 75. So you're getting a big chunk more intelligence. And just as a whole, while this is kind of a bounce spoiler, it's really the most minor one. Her Mending Waters did just go up flat for both the aspect and non-aspect. Just the scaling from 40% to 50%. So it's really a tiny change there. But it'll matter.
10 per
even
stack
more
is kind of
for the
wild. The max stack is only
So
6.
yeah, definitely a different way to play Yemoja. A little bit.
I
more
think the biggest
damage
issue is that
oriented.
her-
Maybe we see
Yeah.
some Yemoja
Her
mid with
AO1
this
is just
going on.
shit
Yeah,
now.
it could be fun.
And this
The
will
bubble.
probably be going live in week 2 of the update, right? So, like what we want to do going forward is have, here's the new god, and then a week later, here's a aspect for an existing god. So this probably won't be live when OB6 goes live a week from today, but will be live 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, so you can see the damage is actually going up because she's gaining more and more ints. For some reason, I'm not sure why the buff bar is not there. And now you have the full stack of
That
6,
number is kinda
6
high.
intelligence
50%.
stacks, and it stopped there.
Yeah.
Lasts for like 8 to 10 seconds, I think.
Bro, you like walk into a fight, you drop ult, and you just spam twos with Soul Gem?
Will the BO1, the Moonstrike, will that still stun towers?
Yes,
Or
I
you use that
did
too?
leave this
Nice,
damage,
that's
the
cool.
stunning on towers. It's just the stunning on gods that was removed. And that's mostly just because, like, we know if you're going to go this build, you're going to go even more CDR and getting just more ability casts. Being able to stun someone repeatedly with your ulti is already really frustrating on the receiving end as a Yemoja without the aspect. But now if that's doing 75% scaling, it's happening even more. That's just going to be, like, that's just taking the tilts to another
Right,
level.
yeah.
So I would rather even
what's the
give more
aspect?
damage to that ability or Mending Waters and
Her
just keep the
2
CC lower. And
no
that way
longer
also
heals
you have
allies,
more
it does
reasons to
damage
play
and
support
jumps to
Yemoja
enemies.
versus just damage-oriented Yemoja.
And then the AO or the BO1, sorry, the stun no longer actually stuns, it just does
that's
more damage.
sick. Oh my goodness.
Wait, that's a cool water look.
Good call out, chat.
Yeah,
Toss the 2. Spam the 2.
Oh, sweet. Well, I got the kill.
Spam the 2, kill them.
screenshots. You just send those over.
I did.
Kill
I put them in
them.
the folder, and I think I sorted them appropriately. So, also in this update, we have some. Oh, do you want to go to one last thing first?
More?
The last skin, or
Yes, we do need to do that.
yes. So we have
let's-
one more skin,
One more skin. Let me go.
which is
bring
an
up cams.
all-new
Yeah.
skin, which is pretty darn cool. It adds a couple of new features.
It's
for
a Sylvanas
skins
god.
in Smite too.
It's a god. It's
Yes.
Sylvanas.
So,
And load out.
yeah. Sorry, I'm waiting for us to get there.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Bringing up the laptop here.
This is Stumbleblade Susanoo. So this is our first attempt at making a Toon skin in UE5.
Wait.
So we had to develop the tech to be able to do that. And this is kind of the first true Toon skin that we've ever really done.
Yeah.
We had to fake all of the cell shading stuff in UE3.
Right, yeah.
And it looked really good for UE3.
kinda
Don't get me wrong, our
clean.
team's amazing. But this is actually using like the appropriate like tech.
Yeah.
I don't know the right way
Kinda
to say it,
clean.
to be able to do this like the right way. So
Bro,
it's, like,
now I wanna
truly
see the
cel-shaded.
Cthulhu skin.
If you like go in game with this guy, like he just looks so like vibrant and
Yeah.
different from the rest of the world, but in a way that's pretty cool. So
That's so cool.
Bro, I almost
so
think it would be
pretty
interesting to
cool
see
skin.
like
His
Smite
effects aren't
in
done
this
yet,
type
so
of
we
visual.
can't go in game to
Yeah.
show him off that way.
Like
yet.
this super
we'll probably go in
Toon
game on
skin
Wednesday just to show him
visual.
off a little
Yeah,
bit. We could go in practice and just run around if you don't use the broken abilities, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just so you can see him like in motion.
Let's see.
But get something.
There we go.
Walk
yeah, it
around.
looks so
yeah,
good.
like it just looks
Bro.
really sharp. I think. So we aren't going to use the abilities just because. Yeah, we can use that. Autos are fine, but the effects are really good.
That's so
they're just not quite done for a couple
clean.
of the abilities, so don't want to show off too much. But you can see it just looks really sharp. He does have voice lines. I don't know if the voice lines are.
Dude, I
hooked up
kind of
yet.
like that skin a lot.
I think that's
Middle lane.
Sounds right.
You're the star of the show.
Yeah, nice.
There you go. So pretty cool. The other thing that's really cool about this skin.
Hey,
something
get my
new that
wallet.
Bringing us back to
added
cams,
and figured out how to do.
Get to the right screen.
So,
Dun,
yeah,
dun, dun.
okay. Sorry, make sure you
I
got
know,
the right
right?
screen. So we are. If you look at the card art for Susanoo,
No way.
you notice there's a couple different
No way. Can you
versions
change?
of him beside him.
Yeah.
So we're introducing something that we're calling prisms.
Yes.
Our new.
Oh my
alternate
goodness,
colors
that is
you can unlock
awesome.
For this skin.
Yeah.
Dude,
And they're
that's awesome.
They are tied specifically to this skin. So it's not like the old Color Forge where it was kind of generic. And the reason why we think this is better is because we're able to do more custom things that just look really sick on this
Dude,
skin.
that's so
whereas the Color Forge ones
clean.
had to work everywhere.
Bro, buff
these
Susanoo.
do also recolor the FX, so it's not
really?
just.
It
It's not just
recolors
skin
the
changes.
FX too?
The FX are going to change too.
Bro.
And we built out a new system to kind of be able to do that as well. And we think it's pretty cool. So this is the first skin that we're doing. These
The chroma
prisms
system from
on.
League
There's
is
gonna be a
dog
lot,
shit, 'cause
like,
League
we aren't sure how
skins
we
are
really
dog
wanna do
shit.
this system going forward, but as the first skin we're doing this on,
Multiple times? I didn't see a question.
Like our supporters that they want a way to like show that there are supporters and
Right.
that they're helping with the game. So we're trying a new thing with these. And how
many gifted for Shmeep to lose mod?
Yeah, I think
One.
we added the tag to it.
And I'll take mod for the day.
Supporter premier classification for things. So these prisms are going to be
When the skin comes
diamond
out, bro, I'll
only,
buy all of them.
no legacy gem discount for this first wave of prisms. We may do things differently in the
For
future.
the week?
But just as a special
What
fun
did I sell
thing
Xanders
here's a new
for?
feature, you know, let's
Double
see
J, thank you for the
how it
gifted
does. Go ahead
sub.
with the feed. So this is a first.
get rid of
first
Shmeep's
out.
mod
We
now.
think they're pretty cool. The FX are really cool. I wish I could show them all to you in game right now.
Just me.
I know.
But yeah, so we wanted to
tier
create this
1
new thing.
sub to Doc saying
And how much are they? I don't know if we have the final price, but they are. I don't know if I should say what the prices are,
Yeah.
but they are significantly less than buying a skin.
Yeah.
It's all of them. I think are less than half the price of buying a skin directly.
Yeah.
So
And then the
Oh.
base skin is still available for
on
50% legacy gems, correct?
yeah, the base skin. Everybody can get the base skin, 50% legacy gems.
Yeah.
It's just the prisms that are this new supporter premier thing
Right.
for people that want to. They've been
Yeah, I'll
asking
take
us
it.
for ways to just give us diamonds.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, we'll try it with this,
Right.
see if it works. If the community hates it, we
Sure.
always listen to y'all, and we have to
Exactly.
make money, but we, are.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay for each color.
I do have the screenshots, but I remembered, gosh, we just have a lot of stuff to talk about today. Since I'll have to go to another screen and pull up a browser for the
Oh,
screenshots.
you want to go in game and
While
show
we're
off
getting
the
game, we should talk about
the
we've
new
got
items.
some items coming in.
Oh, yeah, there's
let's
new
do
items
it.
too.
New
I'll just go with
Oh
the
my
Sure, this is
goodness.
so sick.
Come
But
on,
we
man.
should talk about some new items that we've got coming in for
In your bag, High Res. What do we
Where
got?
do you want to start, Clumsy?
Vamp
Oh,
Trap.
mid-player.
I see one of them on the
Yeah,
screen
the
right
starter
now, so we
items
should
right
probably
there.
start with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, I think the more and more we talked about adding starter items, like, we had Gilded
No,
Arrow coming in
man.
later on, and then a lot of people were like, well, where's Vampiric Shroud?
Hide
And-
camera. Sorry,
Yeah.
they can't see it.
Yeah. There we go.
Boom.
We've got Vampiric Shroud back.
Okay,
this is
show
kind
me
of
the
one that
upgrade.
you
Which one
know
is it? Is it
about intelligence
sacrificial or is it
style.
blood
And
soaked?
when you damage an enemy, you get that health heal and mana heal.
Yeah, you still go sans on this
One that
character.
people said that
Oh, no, Anubis,
they
sorry.
didn't want to see back on their bruisers, back on just a more lifesteal oriented mages.
This is like a
little bit of
solo
that
lane
survivability.
item.
Maybe it's a good time when people sing from Merlin.
Like
although Conquest is pretty
Kabrakan.
good on Unbelievable.
Kabrakan could be really good.
Merlin
It's
replaces
blood
Flash
soaked.
isn't bad. So yeah, you've got your Vampiric Shroud, and it's of course got its upgrade as well, Blood Soaked Shroud. Damage ability still gives you that heal, 1% a percent now.
Wait,
and
1%
every time,
per enemy.
so you
So
heal
that's
an
if you hit a
additional
wave with it, it's
and then
6%, and then if you hit a god, it's 2%.
for every kill.
Chat has also noticed something else that is
Every
new in
kill you have
MV6.
this game,
Not
increase.
sacrificial shroud.
The
That is
toggles.
a banger.
So you can now
High res.
select
A banger.
multiple stats at the
Every
same
kill you
time.
have this game, you
in
increase the heal by
the
0.1. That is
Century Store.
awesome.
So
That is
if you
awesome.
are the kind of person who's like, I need
Yes.
an item that has life steal and attack
In
speed,
your
you
fucking
can,
bag.
click one
the
and then
box.
click the
In
box.
your fucking
And it will
bag.
show you life steal and attack speed.
This
Oh
way you have
my-
the best of both worlds, because we
High
had the
res.
multi-select before and we're playing around with that system, but it also was
Oh
frustrating.
my
because we
goodness,
wanted
high
to
res.
watch,
Come on.
the other version. So now you kind of can do both.
Yeah,
What
so-
else we
so
got?
If you click on just like the name, it'll
Dude,
just
I'm literally
switch
buying
between
this.
filters. So like click on life steal.
Every game. I'm not
and then
trolling.
Click on attack speed, the name.
I'll play a
and it'll
magical
just switch
god
to
every
attack
game.
speed.
I don't
Exactly.
care.
So instead
So
you're bypassing it.
super, and if you want to get rid of attack speed, just click on attack speed again.
Oh,
and
this
it'll
is
go
good
away,
too.
right?
This is
So
sick.
it's
Finally,
pretty
this is
easy
back.
to work with.
The
It
shop
just
change
lets
is
you
massive
now
also. I wasn't even
multi-filter
listening.
for-
Right.
This is one
I'm
of
just so
Travis's
excited
biggest
about the
things.
Vamp
I've
Shroud
been
thing.
playing with this every day for months, so I'm very excited to have this in the update.
Nice, cool. Well, let's talk about the next
Oh,
item
I,
here.
I will answer a question here. How does that work for controller peeps? For controller peeps, it's
We don't
still
care
the
about
same
controller
as
peeps.
it was
I take it back.
previously.
I take it
This
back. It was a
a
joke. It was a
PC-only
joke.
feature,
I love
in the
controller
old
players. I
world.
was a controller player at once.
So if you are using the split store is still set up exactly the same way as it was.
Cool. All right, the next item. Let's talk about.
Rub.
It's back. We've got Runeforge Hammer, but now it's going to be
40
slightly
strength,
different.
400,
to the way it was.
5
You wanna be
health
very careful
regen.
when it comes to some of these more hybrid-based items. You've got the strength and you've got the max health. 2 extremely good stats for the hybrid.
Yeah.
For hybrid archetypes. But now the passive is going to be after applying a hard crowd control, so that mechanism is still staying the same to an enemy. You mark them with the rune for 5 seconds. When you basic attack them, that rune then does an extra proc of damage based on your item protection. Damage. This only occurs every 40 seconds, but if you hard crowd control enemy gods even more,
What's the
it
cooldown?
reduces
Is that
the
2
cooldown.
seconds or
So it's
3?
kind of incentivizing you when you're peeling to get that little bit of extra damage in. The more you peel,
Because I'm pretty sure this is going to be broken on Aspect Thor because
It's like a poly.
trembles count as hard crowd
Kind of a
control.
little bit, sure.
And then we got one more.
Well, there's another one.
I see it.
Oh, on Chile. Well, we're
Take
talking about
10%
all
reduced
these
basic-
different magic damage dealers, and even though we did the pen changes, we had like what are some of the ways that we can stop them, especially for the in-hand focused ones. So for this one, you got your magical protection, you got your max health, and you just in general take less basic attack damage. And every time you do take basic attack damage, it actually reduces the cooldown again. So the Runeforge and this have that similar kind of goal there, but also an active part, which is your next ability that damages an enemy god will silence them for 1.5 seconds. So a little bit again more oriented towards those ability casters and those in-handers at the same time. Ability in-hand attack mages are definitely even more triggered by this item.
Yeah, this is very cool. This is a different take on Chile than the old end Chile.
Right,
But it,
yeah.
it kind of fits the same niche. So I like when we can kind of reinvent something and see how people like it. So pretty cool.
This is sick. All right. Well,
Nuwa Global Silence. Ooh.
that's spicy.
It does apply once per god per ability. Yes. So if you
That's
do
spicy.
an AoE ability, it
If
will
you're
do
a
that.
silencer enjoyer from Dota, then this is your
there we go.
ADC becoming worse and worse
All
every
right,
update.
well, that
The
is it
biggest
for
issue with that
in-game.
item-
So
Sorry,
Volton
go ahead.
DH has a question that is a great question. It's, are there any Conquest art updates? That's the next thing we're showing
Yeah,
you.
I
There
know,
are
right?
Conquest art updates.
Oh my
So,
goodness!
as I said, we've kind of been doing
Wait,
things
just art or
like
Conquest
bit by bit, right?
updates?
We don't want to hold for like a big major update. The last update we had the new tower pads, and this update, 3 camps are going to be kind
nice,
of like
yeah, that's
re-arted
Eh,
and look much
care a
better.
little bit less,
So,
but we'll see.
If I can pull,
My biggest issue with
One
it,
of the-
in
have
Chile, whatever you want to call it,
the next
is
one, it should be like the
Let's
after.
see here.
you
Wanna
build
give a
like
quick
5
shout out to Pawn for getting
anti-ADC
those
items,
items,
and then
I
you
know he
build
was
that
super
as
excited
your
to get some more,
lone
and he was
magical
like, you know
defense
what, I'm gonna
item.
do it.
Hunters are screwed, and
Shout out
both
to Chuck,
mages are
'cause
screwed.
Chuck has been running point on this.
I think
For
that
those
is
of you who don't know, Chuck was like
maybe a
art
little
director for us
OP,
for
but
forever, and loves skulls. And he came back on the team. I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago. And you see Ben on the show all the time. Chuck doesn't live in Atlanta anymore. He lives somewhere else. I'm not going to dox
Right,
him.
yeah.
And
He actually lives in this
but
city.
He's kind of in charge of like the FX and the environment art stuff
Right.
for the game now. So he's been taking point on this, and it looks real good.
Cool. Well, I will bring up the.
We'll
laptop.
see how it
Our
looks.
Cams are hidden too, so you can see. This
So,
is the before.
that's old, yep.
This is blue buff, I believe.
But how would you know? How would you know? It just looks like
good
some
point,
boring rocks.
Yeah.
But what does it look like now? Boom.
there you go.
Yeah, we got the. It's like a cool
Look at
little
that looks
frog
clean.
dude.
That does
There's
look clean.
some
There's another
sweet-
smaller one
That looks
too.
clean.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of blue, so you know what spawns there, even if you're not
That's
like,
clean.
even if the buff's down, right? You can see, it's the blue buff.
Yeah.
Pretty good,
Noticeable
right?
changes.
Like, just not we aren't reinventing the wheel here, but we're making everything just better
Exactly.
and understanding what it
There's
does.
another one. Oh, there's like 3.
Yeah, I know, right? So that's before, after. All right, what's the next one we got?
I believe
Red
this
buff?
is the red buff area.
Oh, okay, cool. So
And
what's
once
red
again, it's some rocks.
How would you know?
Yay.
buff? So red buff now.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's almost like
Oh.
like a shrine to
Wait, that looks
skulls,
cool.
which makes sense because Chuck did it.
Oh, these are
This
sick.
is the first one he came into.
Yes. But I think it just
rocks.
looks sick, and once again, you know it's the
They
red
have not
buff,
VB.
right? Like
Yeah.
I like that it kind of looks a little bit. Let's think about thematically, right? Like blue buff gives you mana back. Mana kind of like water. It's kind of the frog. It's kind of thematic.
Oh, yeah,
right?
that's cool.
Red buff makes you stronger.
Right.
What's themed with being stronger? Skulls and
There you
pointy
go.
things, right?
Well, I think of it as like
Evil,
it
yeah.
like
Evil.
burns
this is looking
people.
sick. All right, what do we got up
It
next?
like melts people.
Purple.
So this actually had some purple lighting. So we were.
Where? I don't even see any lights or anything. Like, where do those? Those just
Don't
like,
worry about it. They're magical lights.
don't worry
They're
about it.
magical lights. But now
There we
Ooh,
go.
there we
Look
go.
at that. That's so cool.
That's so. I love that theming with like the arcane decrepit trees and stuff
Yeah.
and the faces. Damn.
Yeah, it's
That's creepy.
Oh. Wait, I'm... Okay. And this is a long Titan talk.
I love that theming with like the arcane decrepit trees and stuff
Yeah.
and the faces. Damn.
Yeah, it's
That's creepy.
Yeah. So, again, 3 camp updates. Just running around the map, it makes the map feel so much more like.
Yeah, Jiggy's gonna have Ansile
know where
sprinting
you
at your
are.
purple
Yeah,
buff
there's
as
always,
Achilles support.
like landmarks and features, so that way if you're spun around, you get. I was gonna say
We don't
something
need a
I
green
shouldn't
buff,
have said.
Jiggy.
When you get hit by an ulti and you're just not sure where you
We
are.
do
so,
not need a green
I
buff.
can orient myself just that little bit more easily. Like it's just almost subconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Conquest updates that we have. We're continuing to work on more stuff, right? I can't
Not bad.
guarantee you there'll be a Conquest update in every patch or
Right,
anything, right?
yeah.
Right.
But I'm gonna
Nah,
say
that's
the thing I say
overall.
every time we do a patch note show.
St. Patrick's
We are
Day, you
2
fuck.
weeks from our last patch. Patch notes, and 1 week
We
from the
need
last
a
patch
green
going
buff.
live. And we were able to get all of this stuff in the game.
Yeah.
Right. This team is incredible. I am so proud of everybody on Titan Forge. We make amazing things happen, and we are still aggressively working to make the game better every day. And I think that you can see the game is getting better every day. I do want one more thing just to talk about that I don't have scripted at all.
Cool. Let's
right?
do it.
There's been a lot of discourse in the community about like movement, about pacing.
This is just
about
weakened.
just like general gameplay feels.
Yeah.
Right. We have been having those conversations internally for months.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Like the community has finally. I don't want to say they've caught up, but like like. It is not a surprise.
I've never heard Scream
to us
talk
that you
about
guys
this.
Are saying these things because we have been working in the background to address them, right? Just today, we play tested again. We've been working on a major overhaul of movement.
I
and the
must
way
have
that
missed
the-
this tweet.
the
I didn't see
net
Scream
code
tweet about
handles
it.
Movement, basically. It makes a tremendous difference, but it's not quite working yet. There's a couple bugs that just makes we can't ship it live yet, right? But we've been working on this in
Interesting.
the background for months. And
Like an
we
engine
will, at
overhaul
some point,
almost.
Once we think it's good enough to get your feedback on.
Not an engine
we're gonna put
overhaul,
it
but
on a flash
partial
test and
engine
we'll get your
overhaul.
feedback there, and then hopefully push it live, right? What do we mean by movement? One of the things that's really annoying about Smite 2 right now is I'm going to give you 2 examples. Kepri pull, very obvious. When you Kepri pull, there's kind of like it's like a disconnect
stutter.
where it's like you're kind of moving forwards and backwards at the same time.
It's a stutter. I
It's a
mention
little
that all the
jitter,
time.
right? Another thing is when body blocking in Smite 2 does
It is
not
impossible.
feel good.
It's
And
impossible.
Very specifically, like your interaction with minions can feel even worse.
Yes,
like if
yes,
you're bumping up
yes.
against minions, it's very jittery and it doesn't feel smooth.
No, that's the
so
Artemis skin, Cyan.
compared to Smite 1. Yeah, that's mostly we're talking about. It's not snappy.
Tame,
Right?
they might be in their bag.
We're well aware of this feedback. And
They
we've been
might be in
working
their
to fix
bag.
it, but it's just a bigger arc of work. There are some other things that we might be able to push live sooner than this major movement rework. Pawn has been investigating some things related to like
Dude, Pawn is
ground
actually-
friction, which may be affecting this a little bit. We're playtesting with this stuff internally.
I'm telling you
It may
guys,
or may not go live in OB6. or
Pawn is a
sometime later.
superhero on this
but we
engine.
hear
I'm
all
not
this
trolling.
feedback, right?
I get
Another thing
told
that we've been talking
stories
recently a lot
about
and it's
Pawn
come
on
up
this
in the
engine.
community
He
is
is actually like a
this
super
is not,
genius.
To hate on the community at all.
Your mind is
we
not
never really
massive.
wanted to add Combat Blink to the game in the first place, and now the community is like, Combat Blink maybe is OP, right? So we're talking about like, what is the role of Combat Blink in the
What?
game? Is this the correct thing? Should we go a different angle, right? Like these are all conversations that we're having because we want to make sure that like the game feels good all around, right? I'm not saying anything about Blink, guys. I just literally this is.
I was like looking at the chat's discourse between the back and forth on this
Yeah.
already. It's
Yeah,
just like,
that's the thing.
why
Once you've
it's
had
still
something,
there.
it's hard to go back, right?
Yep.
But Combat Blink makes fights much less predictable, and most people use it to escape.
Right,
And it just
yeah.
doesn't
It's
feel
that
good.
point. It's that
Right?
point for me at least specifically. If you're using it to engage, I think like it makes sense. You
Sure.
should be rewarded. But if
Or
I
patches
see
to the
you
combat
use it
bit, I saw
with
that.
beads and ages to escape every
saw
single
that.
time, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. So I think that like there's a lot of things that we know that we still need to look at in terms of the movement, the pacing, all of the things that we're seeing people talk about over the past week, right? And I just like there may or may not be things that go live with OB6 to address some of these things, but I just want to like reassure the community that like we are talking about these things every day. We've been talking about these things every day for a long time, and we are actively working on solutions to continue to improve not just adding more gods, not just, adding more items, but the core of the game. How do we make the core of the game better?
Yeah.
So that's too much of a soapbox. I always do this, but hopefully that is a little bit, people are a little bit happy about that.
Interesting.
Well,
Nah, it's
we talked
actually
about a lot
exciting.
today.
A
We've
lot
got
of
about
that.
10-ish minutes.